Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today is going to be more of a chill kind of sit down video. I'm going to be talking about all my plans and goals for quarter 2. I have them all written down here. So we're going to go through them. I've used a new kind of like planner / goal setting method. This one is by Grace Beverly. It's a digital product, which is why I've got it on my iPad. I'm going to be sharing my goals with you and some tips as well on things that I found really helpful so that you can follow the same kind of method. I know we're pretty much halfway through the month of April already, but it's still better late than never. Sat down yesterday, wrote all of these out, and I'm going to share them with you today. Before we get into that, if you're new here, I am Shah. I am a branding and web designer based in the UK. And if you like videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up down below. But without further ado, let's get into the goals. So I've done all of this within Notion, which is through the Grace Beverly digital planner. It's called Productivity Method. You don't need to have this planner to be able to do it, obviously. It just gave me some new kind of thinking prompts, which I found really useful, but I can share those with you and you can just as easily write them down on a piece of paper. You don't really need a special kind of planner for this. And before I start any goal setting session, if you will, I like to reflect on past goals and things that I have done in the previous quarter or the previous year. And I didn't actually set any goals this year. So I didn't set any goals for Q1 because January was a scramble for me. I was just trying to get through the month because it was incredibly busy. So my goals kind of went out the window. I did have some kind of like goals when someone would ask me, oh, what are your New Year's resolutions? I would say things like finding balance, but I never really wrote down like proper goals. But I will say, I did have goals set for 2023, which I did reach, but a lot of my goals last year were focused around saving and buying a house and renovating and just like a lot of financial kind of goals and money-driven goals. Because I was so focused on numbers and bringing in money, I was able to reach my financial goals. I was able to do all the things I wanted to do regarding my house and renovating and just saving and hitting my investing goals, going on holidays. I was able to achieve all of that, but it was to the detriment of other areas of my life. I don't think I spent much of last year feeling relaxed or really enjoying it all that much because I was cramming in so much work to try and reach my income goals. Last year, even though I did go on holidays, I did like take breaks and stuff, I just was never able to switch off from work. So even on holidays, I brought my laptop and I was checking my laptop a couple times a day. Work was always on my mind, so I could never just switch off. So this year, although I do have income and savings goals, I just as importantly have goals to feel balanced and relaxed and chill. So that's kind of the theme of this year and kind of what I learned from last year. But also, goals and success is so subjective. It is different to every person. And I was watching a Grace Beverly video. If you can't already tell, I am a big fan of Grace Beverly. But she says you can't reach success if you don't define it first. So through goal setting and planning, hopefully you will have defined success for yourself. And my idea of success for myself isn't going to be the same as someone else's. And I just think it's really important to figure out your motivators, figure out why you want to achieve certain things before just writing down a goal that you feel like would be perceived as a good goal to have, if that makes sense. So instead of really focusing on the numbers and money and finances and everything, I'm kind of trying to figure out and plan goals around how I want my life to look like and feel like. Anyway, I've rambled on a lot. I'm just gonna go straight into kind of the method I used. The first thing that I did actually is a little bit different. Like I've never done this before. I just kind of go straight into writing my goals. But in this productivity method planner, what there is like a little section about you. So basically what this does is help you understand yourself a little bit better, your productivity, the things that you struggle with, your biggest motivators, and it's kind of just all down here so you can really reflect on yourself. So I have filled this out. The first question is what time of day I feel most productive. I put morning and evenings, usually was at night. Now like I find a huge burst of productivity and motivation like for the first 3 or 4 hours in the day, and then it kind of tapers off around lunch. Another question is which morning routine makes me feel calmest and most equipped for the day ahead. I've got getting ready, it makes me feel put together and like ready for the day, making my morning coffee, planning out my task list for the day, time blocking and putting my tasks into a time app, and the one I use is called Pomo Focus, I think is the name, but I've talked about it before on my channel. What gets in the way of productivity? First one is TikTok with an exclamation mark, because TikTok will be my downfall. I spend way too long. I don't even want to look at my screen time on TikTok because it's embarrassing. Anytime I go on my phone or reply to a message, I will just go on TikTok and just spend hours scrolling through there. So TikTok is definitely getting in the way of my productivity currently. Another one is procrastinating on tasks outside of my current day tasks. And this also links in with the second one, which is getting sidetracked with Googling or planning things. So I get sidetracked so easily. Like, I will have a random thought about a holiday I want to go on, and I immediately have to go on Google and Google the holiday and the weather and hotels, even though I'm not planning on booking that holiday, but I just need to know what it would be like if I was to book it. It doesn't make any sense, but I get sidetracked like that on the daily. So I need to snap out of it whenever a thought comes into my head. I don't immediately need to go off on a Google session and kind of go down a rabbit hole of just Googling things. And then what techniques are currently working for me that I should do more of? Reminding myself of my goals, what I'm working towards. I think it's very easy to feel low on productivity when I forget what's motivating me in the first place, and like why I want to do things and why I want to reach my income goals, why I want to do the work that I'm doing. So just reminding myself of those goals. I think I'm gonna make like a little screensaver for my phone of like a little vision board that I have, just to remind myself of my goals every time I check my phone. Another one is doing work that puts me ahead of my schedule, just making sure basically I'm on top of my tasks way before the deadline is even due. And then I've got some of my motivations. One of them is to generate different streams of income, and then I guess the rest of them are the reasons why. One of them is to purchase a bigger home down the line. I know I've just purchased this flat last year, but this flat is probably not something that I'm going to live in forever, and I do want to save up for kind of that forever home with more bedrooms for kids one day, and save money for kind of buying that and also renovations towards that. And I know that probably not going to happen for the next couple of years, but just having that goal in my, what's that called, peripheral vision, I think that's the right word, is good to have, just so I know what I'm working towards. And then that kind of ties in with being in a position where I've set up a business where I can work part-time, bring in all the income that I want and need, while also having kids further down the line, because I don't really want to give that up when I become a mother. And I think it's something that us women who are in any type of career think about a lot, is how we're going to juggle both having a career and being a mum. It feels weird to talk about because I'm in no way near ready to become a mum yet, but this is all things, like in my mind I like to plan things way further down the line than I need to, just to make myself feel prepared. But we're definitely not manifesting having kids anytime soon. I would like to be in a position like 2, 3, 4 years down the line where I am doing work that doesn't necessarily feel like work, and I'm also able to balance raising children at the same time. So that is definitely one of my main motivators for the future. And then also being able to travel and buy myself things that I like. That is also one of my motivators. And then the next question is, which of my working habits makes me feel most anxious? I really had to think for these questions actually, but the first one is leaving things to the last moment, aka putting things off for the next day. I do this one a lot. I think, okay, I've done enough for today, I can definitely put this task off to tomorrow, it can be tomorrow's problem, and that just stresses me out for the next day, and also doesn't get me ahead, which I said before makes me feel even more productive. So if I have a task, I need to get it done on the day so that I can get ahead for the next day. The next thing is when I don't have a plan or list of things that need doing. So this kind of makes all of the different projects, all the different things I need going on scrambled in my mind, and that makes me feel really anxious. So having things written down in a clear kind of to-do list or task list way definitely makes me feel more organized. And then the last one is booking too many projects all within the same time frame. So that is all of the about me questions and answers. And now I'm going to go on to the next section before we get into the actual goals, which is the vision board. So I have created, all within the same planner, just like a little bit of a vision board, kind of what my main motivators were, and I put them into a vision board basically. So I've got like savings goals, I've got home goals for kind of later down the road, a picture to represent like leaving my house and doing daily exercise, making time for new hobbies, new business ideas and different streams of income, having fun adventures with friends, having some opportunities coming in from my social media, and also growing my platforms on YouTube, on TikTok. I've got a little quote that I mentioned before: you won't achieve success if you don't first define it. Okay, now going to the main event. So the goals that I've set for Q2 are split up into 6 sections. I've tried to make these goals as tangible as possible and as specific as possible. Some of them are a little bit broad, but I think they're okay. They're a good starting point considering I haven't actually sat down and done goals like this in a little while. So we're starting off with personal development goals. So the first one is attend one networking event. I don't know what kind of networking event, I don't know where I'm going to find them, but I am going to sit down and kind of think about which ones I think would be fun to do. So I'm gonna figure it out, but one networking event, and then read and finish 3 different books. Midway through 2 books, one's Audible, but I'm gonna count that as reading a book. I only ever read like self-help kind of books, but they're all about business. So I kind of want to read some more about other aspects of my life. One is relationships, which I'm reading the book called Attached. And then the other book I'm listening to is, I can't remember the name, but it's the one by Ali Abdaal. And then the last personal development is attend 1 new activity per month. So this could be pottery class, what I mentioned earlier, Pilates class. I put flower arrangement class. I don't know why, that's just the first thing that pops into my head, but just any activity where I'm trying something different per month. I've got finances goals. So I have put a few numbers down. So I put aside £5,000 into savings and investments within Q2, generate £2,000 from UGC or content creation in general, or sponsorships. So I love filming, like I love making YouTube videos, I love creating content for brands or like TikTok and stuff. So I want to be able to monetize that and work with brands that I actually love and want to talk about. There is like a thing called user generated content where you create content for brands, which I have done in the past, but I would like to do more of that where I just create content for brands and I don't necessarily have to post. So I want to get more into that, and I want to be able to generate £2,000 within Q2 just to prove to myself that it is monetizable. And then the last one is a little bit shameful because I have not yet done this, and I think I pride myself on being quite good with my finances, and this is opening up a personal pension. So when you're employed, you automatically, I think, have a pension that's set up by your employer. But when you're self-employed, it's a little bit different, and you have to set up something called a personal pension. So the tax benefits aren't quite the same as if you're employed, which is the only reason why I have not yet set it up. Because I do put money into things like a lifetime ISA or investments, which are kind of more long-term investing and savings, which in my mind are retirement, which would be the same thing as pension. I do feel like it's just time for me to now, alongside my investments, put something into a pension for further down the line where I definitely cannot touch that, because even with my investments and my long-term savings, I feel like maybe I'll be tempted to touch that at one point in my life, but with a pension, I genuinely can't touch that until a certain age. So I'm going to look into opening up a personal pension, I think, within the next couple of months, and kind of actively put money away for that. Next one is attitude and mindset. I think I've already mentioned this before, but stick to and complete my daily task list. So getting the harder tasks out of the way earlier in the day and rewarding myself with the fun tasks later in the day once I've completed the harder ones. Practicing gratitude more, which I think is a good one, because I tend to get really hard on myself with kind of the things that I've achieved, things that I've done. So it's good to reflect on those maybe once a week even. I've put down here to kind of write down what I'm grateful for and the things that I've achieved and I should be proud of myself for, because I don't do that enough. And then another one is limiting my social media screen time to 1.5 hours per day. And then in brackets, create more than I consume. I don't even know if 1.5 hours a day is good, but I'm pretty sure it's double that right now. So surely that's an improvement. The next column is relationships. So I have written, make more time for friends and family, FaceTime if I can't meet them, or meet them in person at least once every month, because I'm quite bad at that. I'm also very bad at replying to my messages which anyone who knows me could vouch for. So yeah, I just think I need to make a better effort with friends and family going forward. And then I put in having a date night or quality time together. It doesn't necessarily need to be a date night, but just like going out and doing something together with my partner Josh once per week, because although we live together and we see each other all the time, we kind of do our own things a lot of the time, so we don't necessarily have quality time together. So I think it's important to have that in the calendar at least once per week. And then making more connections through social media, building a community on and offline. So yeah, I would just like to connect with more people through social media, because I have done in the past. I've made some really good friends through social media, and I think it's a really good place to meet friends. So I would like to kind of build some more connections through that and build almost like a community. The next one is career and business. So I've put here, get 3 new clients, and I do have some discovery calls already lined up, so hopefully I'll be able to hit that one quite soon actually. And then the next one is book 3 sponsorship deals or UGC deals, which I've spoken about under my finances as well. And then next one is create 1 new opportunity or income stream, so a different way that I could bring in money for myself, because I am trying to broaden different income streams, so I don't need to rely heavily just on one. And then I've added in another one. Everything else has 3, but this one has 4. And the 4th one is be consistent on social media. So to me, consistency looks like 1 post per week on YouTube, and then 4 posts per week on TikTok. And then the last column is health. Oh, I don't know why, but health is just so easy for me to put off. I've put down work out or move my body at least 30 minutes per day. So I think working out is harder for me to do, but I put down moving my body, so that means like going for a walk. I think I can go for a 30-minute walk at least once per day. So I'm gonna try to do that at least 30 minutes. I think that's doable. And then the next one is stick to a proper nighttime and morning routine, so I can get at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And then the last one is practicing a self-care routine at least 1 time per week. And self-care routine, I need to define what that actually means. I think it is kind of like taking time to pamper myself, and self-care could be both physically, as in like a face mask or getting my nails done or doing a hair treatment, but also just like taking time to meditate or to do some sort of like gratitude meditation journaling session, and then reading. So I have those goals, so that can tie into the health goals as well. Physical health is just as important as mental health. So I've got a mix of goals for both of those things. So yeah, that is the end of all of my goals for Q2. I'm going to actively try and make new habits that will help me stick to these goals and be more disciplined with kind of my time management, like I said. But now that it's out there in the world, I feel like it's gonna push me to try my hardest to reach them. So fingers crossed, I'm gonna come back to these at the end of Q2, see what I've achieved, and also create my new goals going forward. But I hope you found this useful. If you haven't already set your Q2 goals, it's not too late to do them. And it can be like a really motivating activity to give yourself an hour or 2 to write down and plan out your next kind of 3 months and set some goals for yourself. But anyway, if you guys stuck around until the very end, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a little comment or thumbs up down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.
I feel it in my soul. Chill inside my sacred body, taking no control. Feel it in my holy. Sacrifice me, the curse I'm holding.